They say the Scottish lochs hide more than rippling waves. Some whisper of a creature older than castles and clans lurking beneath the black surface. I never believed in such things until the night I met the Kelpie. It began with a journey across the Highlands. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of pine and peat smoke, and the land rolled with mist-shrouded hills. I walked alone, following a narrow path that led me past a still, moonlit loch. The water seemed calm at first, so calm that it mirrored the stars like glass, but then I noticed something. Standing at the water's edge was a magnificent black horse. Its mane shimmered as though woven with strands of midnight, and its eyes glowed faintly, like embers hidden deep in ash. It didn't move as I approached, it simply stared, as if waiting. Curiosity outweighed caution. There was something magnetic about it, an unnatural beauty that pulled me closer. The horse lowered its head slightly, almost inviting me. My hand hovered over its sleek coat, and in that moment I swore I heard a faint whisper, not in the air but inside my mind, a voice as smooth as the loch's surface. "Come closer, ride." The chill that ran down my spine was sharper than the Highland wind. My instinct screamed to step back, but my body wanted to obey. I didn't yet know the truth that once you touch a Kelpie, you may never let go. The horse didn't move, yet its presence grew heavier, as though the night itself bent around it. I tried to pull my hand back, but the urge to touch its mane was overwhelming, like a tide dragging me out to sea. My fingertips finally brushed against its coat, and instantly the world changed. The surface of the loch rippled violently, though no wind blew. The smell of damp moss and brine rose thick around me. My palms stuck fast against the creature's hide as if fused to it. Panic surge, I pulled with all my strength, but my hand wouldn't come free. The horse turned its head slowly, and for the first time I saw its teeth, not the flat, harmless teeth of a normal animal, but jagged, sharp ridges glinting like polished stone. Its voice slid into my mind again, darker now, echoing like the depths below. "You're mine." The Kelpie's eyes ignited, burning like twin lanterns in the dark. My body jerked forward, dragged closer to its side. My boots scraped across wet stones, splashing into the freezing edge of the loch. The water lapped at my ankles, then my knees. The Kelpie's mane whipped around me like strands of black silk, wrapping, pulling. I fought, clawed at the creature, tore at its flesh, but its skin felt like slick leather, cold and unyielding. Then sudden movement, the horse lunged, surging into the loch, dragging me with it. The icy water swallowed me whole, flooding my lungs with its shock. Darkness wrapped tight around me as we plunged deeper. Shapes moved in that darkness. At first, I thought they were tricks of my panicked mind. But no eyes glimmered all around, faint lights blinking beneath the surface. Dozens of them, faces pale as bone, watching from the depths. I realized with horror they weren't alive, they were echoes, victims, forever trapped beneath the water. The Kelpie's voice roared inside me. "Join them?" I thrashed wildly, air burning out of my chest. My fingers found a jagged rock jutting up from the loch's floor, and I clung desperately. The Kelpie tugged, furious, trying to drag me further into its abyss. My body screamed with pain, but some last ember of defiance burned brighter. I kicked upward with everything I had, fighting for the surface, for light, for breath. The horse shrieked not with sound, but inside my skull, splitting my thoughts in half. And yet, in that chaos, I broke free. My hand tore loose from its cursed hide, leaving a burning mark seared across my palm. I burst through the water's surface, choking, gasping, clinging to the shoreline's reeds. When I dragged myself onto the muddy earth, the loch lay silent behind me. The Kelpie was gone, the stars above shimmered as though nothing had happened. But my palm still burned, and when I glanced at it, I saw a faint imprint etched into my skin shaped like a horseshoe. I thought I had escaped, but that was only the beginning. The wind howled across the darkened moor, carrying with it the sharp scent of rain and something far older, far more primal. I stood on the edge of the loch, the water black as obsidian under the fading moonlight. The silence between each gust pressed against me, as though the night itself were holding its breath. That's when I saw it. At first, it seemed only like a horse shimmering under the pale glow of the moon. Its coat gleamed wet and silver, dripping as though it had just risen from the depths of the loch. The animal was magnificent, too magnificent. Its mane cascaded like liquid night, flowing though there was no wind. Eyes dark as polished coal met mine, and for the briefest of moments I felt drawn forward. It was beautiful, terrifyingly beautiful. The tales I had read came rushing back. Stories whispered in hushed tones by villagers who never strayed too close to the water after dusk. A Kelpie, the water horse, a creature said to lure travelers onto its back, only to drag them beneath the surface, devouring them or leaving nothing but a floating liver behind. My heart pounded as the beast shifted, hooves striking against the wet earth with a sound too heavy, too resonant, for any natural horse. The ground trembled faintly beneath my feet. It lowered its head as if inviting me closer. And that was when the illusion faltered. The sheen of its coat rippled unnaturally, skin sliding over sinew in ways flesh should not move. The graceful horse's muzzle seemed to stretch, revealing teeth too jagged and sharp. Its eyes, once deep and enchanting, flickered with a sickly yellow glow, predatory and blinking. Its mane clung like strands of seaweed, dripping brine that hissed when it struck the soil. I staggered back, but the Kelpie advanced. Each step it took pressed water into the earth, puddles forming instantly under its hooves. The loch rippled behind it, though no breeze stirred. The creature's presence bent the world, the night darker around it, the air heavy, the stars dimming as though it swallowed light itself. My breath caught when I realized something. It wasn't simply showing itself, it was testing me, measuring my fear. The stories told of their cunning, how Kelpies could speak, deceive, even mimic voices to lure victims closer. My ears rang with the sound of rushing water, but beneath it, faintly, came something worse, the echo of my own voice, whispering from the beast's throat. "Come closer," it crooned, its mouth not moving, yet the words dripping into my mind. I froze, my own tone, my own words, replayed with a distortion that twisted familiarity into horror. My legs trembled, every instinct screamed to run, yet I couldn't move. The Kelpie's gaze pinned me, pulling me toward the black surface of the loch, where faint shapes seemed to writhe just below, shadows of past victims, forever drowned, forever silent. And then it smiled. The creature's horse shape rippled again, shifting at the edges. For a split second I saw a grotesque fusion, half horse, half human, its body twisted, its mouth too wide, stretching into something obscene. Fingers, not hooves, pressed against the ground before melting back into its equine form. It wanted me to see. It wanted me to understand that it could be anything, anyone. The air stank of brine and rot. My skin prickled with cold as mist coiled from the loch, curling around my legs like grasping hands. The Kelpie lowered its head once more, muscles flexing, inviting me to touch it, to climb onto its back. One step closer and I felt it, a strange, sticky pull, as if the very ground tried to glue me in place. The legends spoke true. Once you touch a Kelpie, you cannot let go. The beast would drag you into the water, no matter how fiercely you struggled. I clenched my fists, forcing my body to move, to resist. My pulse thundered in my ears. The Kelpie tilted its head, its grotesque beauty shifting, as though amused by my hesitation. And then it spoke again, this time in a voice that wasn't mine, but someone else's, familiar, soft, the voice of my late grandmother, long gone. "Don't be afraid, child, come closer, I'll keep you safe." The words cut through me like a blade. I stumbled back, shaking, heart hammering as the Kelpie's eyes glowed brighter, its lips curling into that unnatural, water-soaked grin. This was no ordinary monster. This was an ancient predator wearing masks of beauty, of love, of trust, and behind each mask lay nothing but hunger. And it was hungry for me. The Kelpie's voice lingered in the night air, sweet and venomous, weaving illusions with every syllable. My chest heaved as I tried to steady my breath, but the mist thickened, curling tighter around me like a net. Somewhere deep within, I realized this was its true weapon, not just brute force, but deception, pulling at the heart, breaking the mind before claiming the body. I forced my gaze away from its hypnotic eyes, searching the ground, the trees, anything to anchor myself to reality. But reality itself seemed to bend around the creature. The loch rippled unnaturally, waves rolling though the air was still, and in those ripples I saw visions, people I knew, faces I trusted, friends, family, all standing at the water's edge, smiling, reaching out their hands. The Kelpie stepped forward again, its hooves sank into the wet soil without a sound. The illusions in the water leaned closer, urging me silently. I wanted to run, but my legs were heavy, my body trembling as though the creature's presence had seeped into my very bones. And then it changed again. The horror's shape twisted, shrinking, flesh bubbling as it reshaped itself into something leaner, more human-like. A grotesque figure, skin slick and dripping, long arms stretching unnaturally, fingers tipped with webbed claws. Its head retained the trace of a horse's skull, elongated, teeth jagged and wrong. It was neither beast nor human, but something that mocked both. Closer, it hissed, this time audibly, the sound wet and broken, like water rushing through a cracked pipe. I stumbled back until my heel struck a rock. Panic surged. The ground seemed alive beneath me, sticky and wet, pulling me closer to the creature with each step I resisted. The tale said only one thing could repel a Kelpie: iron. I had none. My pockets were empty except for a small silver coin and the knife I carried for camping, not iron, but perhaps sharp enough. The creature lunged. Its speed was unreal, a blur of slick muscle and water-slick mane. It struck the ground where I had stood a moment before, mud and spray exploding outward. I rolled aside, knife clutched in my hand, heart pounding so violently it drowned out all sound. The Kelpie turned with an elegance that defied its monstrous form. Its eyes gleamed, hungry and endless. It lunged again, this time faster, claws raking through the air. I slashed wildly, the blade grazing its skin. A shriek tore through the night. The wound was shallow, but the reaction was immediate. The Kelpie recoiled, steam hissing from the gash as though its body burned against the blade. My hope flared. Perhaps it wasn't iron it feared, but defiance itself. The creature's form rippled violently, features blurring, trying to restore its horse shape. Its mane flailed, wet strands whipping through the air like serpents. One struck my arm, clinging with a glue-like force. I yanked desperately, but the more I pulled, the tighter it bound. Panic surged. The Kelpie reared, towering over me, a grotesque silhouette against the starless sky. Water poured from its body, flooding the ground, dragging me closer to the edge of the loch. My feet slid in the mud, the pull irresistible. No, I gasped, plunging the knife into its mane where it gripped my arm. The strand writhed, shrieking like a living thing, and released me. I stumbled back, chest heaving, soaked in brine and sweat. But the Kelpie was relentless. It lowered its head, eyes burning, charging once more. This time, I didn't retreat. I braced myself, gripping the knife tighter, and as the beast lunged, I slashed across its muzzle with every ounce of strength I had left. The blade sank deeper this time. The Kelpie's scream split the air, so piercing it rattled my skull. The world around us convulsed, the illusions shattered, faces in the water dissolving, mist unraveling into the night. The loch itself roared, waves thrashing against the banks as if in fury. The Kelpie staggered, its form flickering between horse and horror, body melting like wax. And then, silence. It collapsed onto the shore, body collapsing inward, dissolving into black water that hissed and steamed. The ground quaked as the loch pulled it back, swallowing the monster whole. Within seconds it was gone, only ripples remained, spreading outward, then fading into stillness. I fell to my knees, knife slipping from my grasp. My hands shook violently, every muscle in my body screaming. The night air, once suffocating, now felt thin, empty, yet somehow heavier with what had just transpired. The Kelpie was gone, but as I stared at the loch's obsidian surface, I realized something chilling. Creatures like that do not die. They return, they wait. And one day, when someone else dares to walk too close to the water's edge, it will rise again. The legend of the Kelpie endures because it speaks to something primal, the danger of beauty that hides death, the lure of temptation that masks destruction. For centuries, people have feared the lochs not just for their depth, but for what might dwell beneath. So, the next time you find yourself wandering by a lonely shore, and you see a horse to perfect, to strange, glistening under the moonlight, remember this story. And ask yourself, would you climb on its back? If you enjoyed this tale and want to explore more myths and creatures from around the world, make sure to subscribe and join us for the next season. There are countless legends waiting, and some of them may be closer than you think.